What's up, everybody? Welcome into the March Madness special of the 1796 Sports Podcast. It's the best time of the year, in my opinion. Not just even basketball, but we're going to talk about basketball. But this is the premier sporting event, in my opinion. And we're going to go through each round, tire bracket, pick our games. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Jim, I'll go to you first. What's your I guess I know what your main gripe is with the bracket overall, which I think is everybody's main gripe. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, North Carolina obviously should not be in this bracket at all. When you go, what is it, 1-12, quad one, that's just insane. NCAA obviously already sucks, hence free Birdo. But I mean, someone's got to look into it. You can't have an AD on a board like that, and then they bring him on TV and nothing to look at here. I wasn't even in the room. You don't have to be in the room, dude. You don't gotta be in the room. Just text your buddy.
Yeah, that's the biggest lie I've ever heard. I mean, there had to be a window or something.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Usually North Carolina should be in the tournament, but this year they did not. They didn't earn it.
1 for 12 in quad one matchups. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but up until
it's one of them. Yeah, double-digit losses with one.
It's one of my best friends is a North Carolina fan, and I'm not confronting him about that because I don't want to argue with him about it. But I mean, he's in the other room. He's trying to tell me how they're going to go to the Sweet 16.
Hey,
yeah, right.
Stranger things have happened. I do think there's
it could happen.
Yeah,
they got one of the better players in the country at the beginning of the year. What's their point guard? What's his name?
Yeah, you don't even know his name, so he's not. I mean,
hold on, I'll tell you.
I know who it is. It's RJ Davis, but it's. I mean,
RJ Davis. That's it.
They're in the
inconsistent.
Last game he played, they barely gave him the ball. I mean, if you're the best player, you give him the ball. Like Sakai,
they're also very young. There's no tournament experience on that team as well, so it's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say there's also a lot of teams in this thing that I think are underseeded. My mind goes first to Gonzaga, and then to Louisville, and then even to. I mean, those are the two big ones. I'll go to you, Eli. Do you have any teams that you think are underseeded?
Yeah, Michigan.
Yes,
that just one pops to mind. I don't know how they got out-seeded by Wisconsin, who they beat. I'm just looking through here. Let's see. No, I mean it's all right in comparison to last year, which was weird. Yeah. Gonzaga might be a little underseeded.
Yeah, they
got a tough road. They got a tough road with Houston and then Clemson, and I see McNeese. I see a lot of people saying McNeese is underseeded, which like top 12 seed as a non-Power 4 team is a nice spot.
Yeah. Another thing about this thing. Yeah, sorry, Eli. Another thing is
that's great.
Yeah. Another thing is you got teams like Kansas and UConn on the 7 and 8 lines, which is brutal draws for the 1s and 2s in their regions. But if y'all don't have any more big time thoughts, we'll hop right in, start picking some games. Y'all ready to do this?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. We're going to start at the top of the South. Auburn versus Alabama State or St. Francis out of Pennsylvania. Eli. There you go. Yeah. Not much to talk about here unless you're really bold. Jim, what about you? You sticking with the Tigers?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Auburn, obviously. But, I just already said this during the last podcast. I felt bad for whoever had to play Auburn after they lost to us because they're coming off a, rough couple, 4-game stretch where obviously they played really good teams, but everyone talked about how Auburn's the number 1 team in the country. But yeah, I feel bad for this whoever's playing them because they're just gonna put belt to ass, and it's just this one. I'm not like honestly, this is the one game where I'm like 0% chance this other team beats Auburn. 0%.
Mm-hmm.
I
The only
agree.
one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, there's other like all the other games. I'd say Duke too, but we'll talk about that later. But Auburn is gonna destroy whatever team they play in the first round. Doesn't matter who it is.
I'm in agreement with both of you there. Again, not much to talk about with the 1 versus 16s unless you're a real crazy person. So, moving on to the most fun things to pick. The first 8-9 we'll look at. One of the teams I said was underseeded in Louisville, playing Creighton. Jim, I'll go to you first.
Let me tell you, Creighton is one of my teams that can make a run. And let me tell you why. You got Kalkbrenner, who's been there forever.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. I think Ryan Kalkbrenner can be Janai Broom's kryptonite. I think he's one of the best big men in the country. You got Stephen Ashworth, who's, again, one of the guys who's been there for a while and knows how they know how to move the ball around. And, yeah, they could shoot. They're one of the teams that I could see making a run. And like you said earlier, Ryan, this is one of the games where you're just like, this is a tough draw for Auburn to have to play a team like Creighton, whose coach really, we know his coach from last year. The guy knows how to coach. He's got 2 guys that are back from last year. And again, this team could be problems for a team like Auburn in the future rounds.
So you're sticking with the Blue Jays, Jim.
And
All
I
right.
agree, though. I agree Louisville's a little underseeded, but, like I said, I just think between the seniors, because Kalkbrenner, we both all know he doesn't foul anybody. He stays on the floor for 36 plus minutes.
Yep.
It's going to be a tough one for Janai Broom, and obviously we're talking Louisville here, but, they're going to give Louisville trouble. It's going to be a good game, don't get me wrong, but I think the seniors that have been here before are going to, give the Blue Jays a little bump.
Gotcha. Eli, what are you feeling in this matchup?
Jim was talking about Kalkbrenner. I think Kalkbrenner and Ashworth, they still have Ashworth, correct? Anyways, regardless, one of the most underrated big men in the country. I feel like he has a tournament experience. Us Tennessee fans know firsthand how good of a player Kalkbrenner is. And Louisville at times when they play like pretty good teams, they have struggled. They're honestly underseeded. Of course, they had a chance to win an ACC championship, and they had a very good record. Honestly, when I saw them at the 8 line, I was very surprised. I think that I would take Louisville over Michigan if they played. And Michigan's a 5 seed, and I also think Michigan's underseeded. So it's like, granted, Michigan did win the Big Ten, but I think Louisville's a good team, and they got a tough draw as well. But give me Creighton.
So I guess it'll be me making the case for Louisville because that's the reason I think they're underseeded. I think they're a much different team than they were in November when Tennessee blitzed them up at the Yum Center. Chucky Hepburn is really good. Edwards Jr. can shoot the lights out at times. Are they tired after going the distance in their conference tournament just to come up short? I don't know. But I just have a feeling about Louisville. I think I said it on Saturday night, Jim. Like a lot of the times when you have a borderline blue blood or even a true blue blood on the 8 or 9 line, they make a run a lot of the times. So I would go with Louisville, but my vote doesn't matter. So we're going with Creighton.
Well, I'm looking at their notable games here on the ESPN site. It's just you talked about it before. Louisville had trouble with better teams this year. They just couldn't get Duke's number. They lost to Kentucky, who's battling injury all year, which is a rivalry game. They beat North Carolina, which doesn't mean anything. And they beat Pittsburgh, who, again, doesn't mean anything. And the one win I'll give them is the Clemson Tigers. They own Clemson this year, which is a good Clemson basketball team. So again, this is a toss-up game. This is obviously we're picking Creighton just because me and Eli said, just the tie-breaking vote. But good game here. I just think, between the two guys I talked about and the coaching, I think Creighton can win this game.
Gotcha. Moving on, another we've already said it, an underseeded team in our eyes, Michigan versus UC San Diego in the 5-12 matchup. What do you think about that one, Jim?
Another one I think is going to be a fun game to watch because this is a terrible draw for Michigan. I think UC San Diego, I understand it's not a, big time conference they're in or anything like that, but they got guys on that team. They got guys that could score. You know, the only game they really had that was a pretty tough matchup, in my opinion, was San Diego State, and they lost. But they're 30-4. You're not 30-4 if you're a bad team. Yep. I think this is a sneaky game for Michigan. Honestly, I don't really know who I want to pick in this one yet, so I'm going to let you two let me see what you guys say, and maybe I'll be the tiebreaker. But yeah, this is a good one. A lot of people are picking San Diego to beat Michigan, but I'm interested to see what you guys think.
For me personally, I think that Michigan gives NC State vibes last year. They caught lightning in a bottle, and Michigan is a better regular season team this season versus NC State last year. But they give me the vibe that, I think that UC San Diego is going to be picked a lot in a lot of these brackets because they're a good team, well-deserved. I'm going to take UC San Diego, but I could see Michigan making a Sweet 16, or not a Sweet 16, but an Elite 8 Final Four run. But I'm going to go with my gut here, and I'm going to go UC San Diego.
Yeah. It's like Jim said, it's a very trendy pick. The 5-12s are where you see a lot of the upsets go down in the first round. But I agree with you that Michigan is primed to make a run here because how many teams can match up when Michigan's two best scorers are their centers? I mean, it's the Twin Towers with Wolf and Golden there. I mean, they were incredible this year. I would imagine UC Davis can't match up as well as other teams.
I like their defense. They averaged almost 10 steals a game. That's insane.
Yeah, Michigan. I think they come in the teens in KenPom on defensive efficiency. So that's another aspect to look at. I
was talking about UC San Diego. That's the big thing for me there. It's really good defense.
Yeah. They actually average 10 less points a game compared to Michigan. And also just so we know, the betting right now is -2.5 for Michigan. So a lot of money is obviously going on to UC San Diego.
Yeah. Gun to my head, I'm picking Michigan, though. I think those two big guys are going to be too much to handle. So, Jim, you get the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I figured I probably would because, like I said, I had a feeling one of you was going to pick San Diego. I like the San Diego pick. I really do. But I've seen Michigan in multiple games this year where they played right at the wire type games where they're close games. Somehow they pull it off. And that's why I think I'm going to go Michigan here. I think they play a tougher schedule, obviously. They got Trey Donaldson, an Auburn guard from last year, who is good. And like you said, Ryan, you got Golden and Danny Wolf. It's going to be tough. I think that this is a good game, and my gut says Michigan, but I really think San Diego could pull this one off. But I think for our bracket's sake, I think Michigan is the right play just because it's the safer pick, if you would say that.
Yeah. All right. So we're going Michigan there, boys. Next matchup, another one that I've seen a lot of people picking the upset in, Texas A&M versus Yale. Eli, I'll go to you first.
Give me the Aggies. I've seen a lot of it too. Texas A&M, honestly, I'm surprised they lost to Texas in the tournament, the SEC tournament, that is. They're an older, experienced team that beat Auburn last week or the week before. They're a gritty, tough, battle-tested team. I love SEC. I love SEC basketball. It's the best conference in the country this year, probably the best conference ever. Yeah, give me the Aggies. Yale is a great team, and it's a great story. But I'm fading the public on this one, and I'm gonna go. I think, if I'm not mistaken, what is the spread on that game? Do we know?
It is -6.5 for the Aggies.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Texas A&M, and I'm gonna stick with my gut on that. I like them a lot in this matchup. I like them a lot in this tournament.
Jim, how are you feeling?
I'm the same way. I think Yale is a really good shooting team, which can hurt the Aggies at some points, but the Aggies are relentless on the boards. They, Wade Taylor is a veteran guy. They play in the toughest conference in basketball this year, and they did pretty well. I mean, they went 11-7 in conference play. Again, I think the rebounding is going to be the telltale sign in this one. That's why I'm picking A&M to win this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with both of y'all. I think Yale used up their magic last year in the tournament when they beat Auburn in the first round in the same 4 versus 13 matchup. So, and A&M is just so relentless on the boards, man. And like Eli said, it's an experienced team as well. Wade Taylor seems like he's been there since the Obama administration. Like, they're an old team, and I think they're primed to make a run at a Sweet 16, if not further. So, moving on, we'll go ahead and pick the first play-in game we're running into here. San Diego State versus UNC to see who plays Ole Miss. Again, UNC probably shouldn't even be here. They're favored in this matchup by 3.5 versus San Diego State, who seems to be in the tournament every year.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, how are you feeling about this matchup in Dayton?
I think North Carolina will pull it off, and I think they're going to find a way to get North Carolina in this tournament. And we saw it. I hate to say it. We saw it in the SEC championship game. If they want a team to win, they will find a way for the team to win.
Yeah.
And I just think North Carolina is going to find their way in just to versus an SEC team in Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is a really good team. But talking playing game, I'm one of those that I just think North Carolina is going to find themselves in this tournament some way, somehow.
Yeah. Eli, what about you?
Give me San Diego State. I was looking at their most recent schedule. They've been playing well. They beat UC San Diego. They played well against Gonzaga. They beat Creighton. Played Oregon well. Beat Houston. I like this. I like what I'm seeing here. I'm gonna look at I don't really know much about them. That's why I'm doing a little research. They shoot 33% from 3, and they rebound fairly well. It looks like they're a slower paced team, which we know North Carolina is a faster paced team, always has been. I think it's going to give them trouble, and I think they're going to win. I think I'm going to take San Diego State in this one.
As much as I want UNC to get put out early here, I think it would be just the biggest slap in the face for them to win this game and then even make a run. And it's like Jim said, if they're going to do all this to make it, they'll probably make sure they win at least one game. So that's what I'm feeling. North Carolina, they haven't been a bad team, but like everybody knows, they haven't been good enough to merit this even happening. But I'm still picking the Tar Heels in that play-in game. But do the Tar Heels make it past Ole Miss? Jim, I'll go to you.
No, I think Ole Miss is a team that's playing really well. They hung around in the Auburn game, recently. I just think Ole Miss is the better team. They play in the better conference. North Carolina just didn't look good against Quad 1 teams. And again, I just think Ole Miss is just a really good team this year. I mean, they beat us. They beat us, and yeah, I'm just sticking with that. There's not really much to say, in my opinion. It's kind of hard to pick this game just because we don't know who they're going to actually play. But I think Ole Miss, either way, whoever they play, ends up winning this first round.
Eli?
Give me Ole Miss. They're consistently called a baby Tennessee. They run a slower paced grind. They have a really, really good defense. Average just under 10 steals a game. They shoot the three well for the most part. They are a defense take you far in the tournament. And I like Ole Miss in this matchup, whether it be San Diego State or UNC. Honestly, I think that I could see San Diego State beating them more than UNC because of the battle-tested proof in the past that we've seen. San Diego State has more Quad 1 wins, and UNC is just proven to not beat a Quad 1 team at all this season, even though they were hot towards the end of the year and almost made a run in the ACC tournament. The ACC was abysmal this year. I'm taking Ole Miss. Give me the Rebels. I love the SEC this year.
Yeah. And speaking of the SEC, I mean, it's kind of the same deal last year. And then the SEC only had two teams in the Sweet 16. It was either the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. I mean, Tennessee and Alabama carried the fight for the SEC last year. So, and it goes to – I've heard this talking point a lot, like, are they going to call games the same way in the tournament as they do in the SEC? And I think that'll be the story of how the SEC teams do in this tournament. But I also think Ole Miss gets past whoever comes out of Dayton there. So moving on to Iowa State versus Nashville's own Lipscomb University. I'll go to you first, Jim.
This is one of the games where I'm just like, I just don't see Iowa State losing this game. Iowa State is a team that plays really good defense. They can score the ball. They beat a team like Baylor. They beat Kansas. They hunt around with Auburn, losing by only 2. And then you look at Lipscomb. Lipscomb has played a couple SEC teams. Lost to Arkansas, lost to Kentucky by a lot. I just don't see a team like Iowa State who has a really good defense losing to a team like Lipscomb. So yep. I'm rolling with the Cyclones here. I think it should be a pretty, to me, probably like a nice little 10-point win for Iowa State. So I'm going to stick with the Cyclones.
Lipscomb has a high-octane offense. They shoot the ball 50% from the field, 35% from the three, and they get turnovers at a decent rate. It's taken everything in me not to take Lipscomb, but Iowa State. I saw that in order to beat Lipscomb, you have to score 70 points. But Iowa State's defense, like I said, I can't be inconsistent with what I said earlier about Ole Miss. Give me Iowa State in this matchup. I think it'll be – I'm going to be keeping my eyes on it because Lipscomb could be a big upset. It's March, baby. I think 9 times out of 10 – or I think 7 times out of 10 Iowa State beats them, but it's March,
FDU. That's all I'm saying. FDU. All it takes is that one game, catch lightning in a bottle.
I would love Lipscomb to – I have a couple friends that go there. I would love for them to upset Iowa State. It would be – it's just – as people – as Tennessee residents, I'm sure that y'all could agree with me on that.
Yeah. I saw Lipscomb play in person this year against Austin Peay in Clarksville, and they can shoot the ball. They made 18 threes whenever I watched them play this year. So don't let them get hot, Iowa State, but I don't think they do. I think the defense is enough for Iowa State. But like you said, Eli, it seems like Iowa State's going to have to score, more than, they normally do to win comfortably. I think that they'll win anyway, but to win, to cover the spread here, which I think is pretty substantial. I'll just check real quick.
Lipscomb's coming in hot too. They've won 10 of their last 11 games, and Iowa State got upset by BYU, which the BYU team this year is a pretty good team. I think some people have them as sleepers in their tournaments. I've heard a lot of talk about BYU this year, but don't sleep on Lipscomb in this game. We'll see. It's one of those games where it's like I'm going to be keeping a close eye on it, but game time decision over here. Don't sleep on them.
Yeah, I'm going to say Iowa State wins, but they don't cover 13.5 because I think Lipscomb has a spurt or two in them to keep this close, in my opinion. But moving on, Marquette versus New Mexico. I'll go to you first, Eli.
Give me Marquette. That's about all I got. It's one of those borderline blue blood teams. It's March. Give me Marquette. I don't really want to. Some of these picks I just don't want to think about much.
Yeah, Jim.
This game's interesting to me because you got complete polar opposites of pace in this game. New Mexico wants to speed you up, wants to play in transition. Marquette's the complete opposite. Marquette plays at a slow pace, wants to control the tempo of the game. And to me, the tempo of the game is going to tell a lot in this game. I don't really know. New Mexico can win this game. They got Donovan Dent, a really good guard who's averaging almost 21 points per game that could keep up with a Cam Jones. And Nelly Jr., who averages almost 12 rebounds a game, who plays really well as long as he stays out of foul trouble. Now, I don't know, man. I'm going to leave this up to you, Ryan. I'm going to be honest. You're going to be the tiebreaker here. I like New Mexico's chances to keep the tempo up and really play well and fast and try and rush Marquette in this game. So I'm going to take New Mexico here.
My thing is Marquette has played some really good games against some really good teams this year, but they've come up short just about every single time.
Yeah.
That's why there's iffiness there. I feel like they're a few wins away from being a way higher seed.
Yeah. The thing about Marquette is that I don't trust their coach in March. Shaka Smart was Rick Barnes' predecessor at Texas, and he got ran out of town in a few years just because he can't do it in the tournament. The only time he ever had a consistent run was when he made the Final Four with VCU. And I'm sticking with the Lobos, Jim. I'm in agreement with you because I think the tempo is fourth on KenPom in the country, but they also pair that with a top 20 defense in KenPom as well, which you don't see a lot. I think that's a nasty mix there, and I think it'll be too much for Marquette to overcome. So, New Mexico.
I feel like New Mexico every single year is a 10 seed. That's a consistent thing every year. I feel like.
And I picked them last year to make a run. I really thought they were going to be good because they had Washburn and Donovan Dent, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But, again, I think if New Mexico is going to push this tempo all game long, and it's fine that I just think they're going to score more. I think the tempo is going to really frustrate Marquette because Marquette's going to rely on getting turnovers. They're going to rely on that, and if New Mexico can keep the turnovers down, I think New Mexico. I think plus 3.5 for New Mexico is a free one. I think that's a really good bet.
There you have it. Let's go quickly on this one. Michigan State versus Bryant. Does Bryant have any chance at all? Jim.
They have a chance, but Michigan State has been playing really well. Izzo's one of the best coaches in the country. I think Michigan State is too much to handle in this round one, so I'm taking Michigan State.
Feeling the same way?
Outside of I agree. Michigan State. I think outside of a year like this where you have two number 2 seeds that any other year would be a 1 seed. I think Michigan State's your number 1 overall 2 seed. They're a good team. They're the best team out of the Big Ten, regardless of who they played, who they lost to. Yeah, give me the Spartans.
I'm in total agreement. Like Jim said, I will trust Tom Izzo till the day I die in this tournament. So that'll do it for the first round in the South. And we're moving on to the West now, which many people are calling the hardest region in this tournament. Florida versus Norfolk State. I know I'll go to Jim first because he had some interesting things to say before we started here tonight about this matchup.
Again, I mean, anybody could catch lightning in a bottle. I'm not picking Norfolk State to beat Florida. Don't take his words like I said that was going to happen. Florida, to me, is the number 1 team in the country. I just think their guard play. I just think their guard play is really the best in the country. I mean, Clayton Jr. is obviously, to me, top 3 player in the country. I mean, the kid's absurd, and he likes to go absolute nuclear whenever he plays us. So I'm going to take the Gators here, obviously, and I'm sure both of you are going to say the same thing. And it's an easy one for us.
Yeah, not much to say here. I think I agree. I think Florida's the best team in the country. Tennessee played their hearts out against them the other day, and it was just they just kept taking. They're hot. They're the hottest team in the country, and I don't see them slowing down.
Not against these dudes, for sure. I'm in total agreement.
No.
Another 8-9. Again, the most fun to predict. It's one of my favorite ones this year. UConn versus Oklahoma. You got an Oklahoma team that has made some noise down the stretch here. And a team that I think is pretty fortunate to be a 9 seed, but their reward is the UConn Huskies, 2-time defending national champions. Eli, how are you feeling about this one?
Give me UConn just because of the coach. They've struggled this year, but they have some huge wins. And at one time, they battled their way back to being ranked in the top 15 again. They played a good Creighton team well the other day. I'm pretty sure they were in their conference championship game. They beat Marquette. And, I mean, I love the SEC this year, but UConn, 2-time reigning national champion, maybe they three-peat. Doubt it, but, they're going to give Florida trouble, and I'm going to take them in this one.
How about you, Jim?
Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. You're doubting the SEC here. Let me tell you something about Dan Hurley. I understand 2-time national. That is not this team this year. Not this team. I'm taking the young scorer of Jeremiah Fears and Jalen Moore to do their thing. I think Oklahoma's going to be able to keep up with UConn. I think this game's going to be a real close game. UConn can win this game, obviously. But I'm taking the Sooners, man. I think the Sooners can score, and I think Connecticut is just not the Connecticut we are used to seeing. And I think they're going to get shell-shocked in the first round. That's just my opinion. So, Ryan, I'm giving you the floor on being another tiebreaker here.
I really want to pick UConn, but I'm going with the young maestro, Jeremiah Fears. Tears for Fears, baby. Everybody wants to rule the world, and I think they'll be doing it against UConn. I'm picking Oklahoma to move on. Like you said, 2-time defending national champs means nothing now. I mean, not the same team. Nope. And this would be probably one of the biggest statements in the first round for the SEC if Oklahoma can pull this off. But that's what I'm feeling. Another team out of Tennessee here in the 5-12 in the West. You have Memphis versus a red-hot Colorado State team. What are you feeling, Jim?
I love Colorado State. I really do. I love Colorado State. They got one of the best players in the country in Nick Clifford. But on the opposite end, you got PJ Haggerty, one of the best transfers in college basketball, averaging almost 22 a game. In my opinion, I think Memphis should win this game. They should. But this is a team, like you just said, that Colorado State is playing good basketball. I'm gonna call for an upset here. I think everyone's gonna just say, Memphis is doing their thing, playing well, but I think Colorado State stays hot, and Nick Clifford leads this team to a first round dub.
What about you, Eli?
Colorado State's won their last 10 games. Memphis is also hot. I like PJ Haggerty a lot. I'm seeing a lot of people picking Colorado State. I don't think we should overthink this. I think Memphis is just the better team. Colorado State's a very, very good team. It's going to be one of the most fun games to watch in the first round. But I'm not going to overthink this much, and I'm going to take Memphis.
This is a tough one. I guess I'm the tiebreaker again. I mean, good points for both sides in this matchup. I mean, Memphis has PJ Haggerty, one of the best guards in the country. They have what's his name? Dane Danger. He's awesome too as a forward. They have a great 1-2 punch with those two. But then you look at Colorado State. I mean, they are red hot, 10 games in a row, like Eli said.
Look where the game is as well, Ryan. The game is all the way on the West Coast.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing you have to take into account. And if you look at Memphis' schedule, they aren't. I mean, they're 29-5. They ran the American Conference, but if you really dive into it, they have a lot of close games against teams that they should be bludgeoning. And I think it's because I don't know. I mean, I think their coach isn't as good as people make him out to be. I think if he was in any other conference, Memphis would not be this team. But I'm still going to pick Memphis because of PJ Haggerty, and guards ruled the day in March. So as much as it pains me, Memphis moves on.
You're not picking the underdog, by the way. Colorado is favored to win.
You are kidding.
-2.5, Colorado State.
I heard.
That's crazy. Well, that's interesting.
So you guys technically picked an upset, which isn't really an upset.
I mean, Colorado State's very hot. They've won me a lot of money over the past couple of weeks.
Nick Clifford has won a lot of money for some people.
Great player.
I mean, I loved them in that tournament. Every single time, I was like, dang, these odds are great. Every time I see Colorado State like slightly favored against some team in the are they in the Mountain West? I think.
Yes, they play Boise State. Yeah, they did.
Yeah. No, they're the best team in that conference. Hot, very hot. So I get why they are the favorite, but I like Memphis. I don't like Memphis, but I like them in this matchup.
I like
that.
My whole point is I like PJ Haggerty more than I like the team itself, and I think he does enough. 4 versus 13 in the West, Maryland versus Grand Canyon, who third year in a row in the tournament now for Grand Canyon University. Eli, how are you feeling about this
one? Grand Canyon, like I was like you said, little experience there. They've played some pretty good teams pretty well. But I think Derek Queen is one of the best centers in the country, one of the best big men in the country. I think if you throw him on Auburn, he's one of the best freshmen in the country. I think that if you threw him on Auburn, I think he would have the same amount of production, maybe even more than Jedi Broom. Maybe that's an insane hot take, but I love Maryland. They're one of my darlings in this tournament.
What about you, Jim?
I think Maryland's going to win the game. I think Grand Canyon can definitely win this game. We've seen what they did last year, where at one point they led that Alabama team in the tournament. So I think Grant Foster is going to have to play a miraculous game. I think he could definitely be a name we'll remember in March Madness, in the coming years. But I think I'm going to take the safe pick. I think Maryland is the better team. But Grand Canyon, you better watch out. This is what game, like Eli said before, this is one game you'd watch because I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. It's tough to pick against Maryland and the Crab 5, one of the best starting lineups in the country. But the thing is, their bench, there's a big-time drop-off. I mean, it is the starkest drop-off I've seen among a Power 5 team. going from their starters to their bench. But like I said, starters are awesome. And I think it's enough to get them at least by Grand Canyon. I don't know if it's enough for them to make a long run, just the way March goes. But I'm definitely taking Maryland in that 4 versus 13 matchup. 6 versus 11, another clash of styles here. Big time clash of styles. You have Missouri, the 6th seed, versus Drake coming in with the 11th seed. Jim, how you feeling about this one?
Again, a lot of people love Drake here. Love Drake. They think this might be the Cinderella team, and they absolutely could. Now, Missouri comes in minus 6.5 point favorites. But let's remember, I mean, you got this Drake team that beat Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt, it was a really good team this year. They're obviously in the tournament. They are on their way there. They beat Kansas State. They beat Miami, who was garbage this year, but they beat FAU. I think Drake could be sneaky here. I think this is going to be a really good game. I'm going to go with the upset. I really do think Missouri should win. I want to stick with the SEC. Missouri should win. I think Caleb Grill is going to be one of those guys that could, spark this Missouri team to win.
Yep.
But I mean, Drake's defense is really good. I mean, they keep teams under 60 points a game, but Missouri could score. So I'm still sticking with a very close, very, very close razor thin game. I think Drake sneaks it out some way, somehow.
It's hard to pick against the SEC in the tournament, but I'm gonna go Missouri. They shoot the 3 ball better. They play good defense. Yeah, I like the SEC a lot this year. Mark Mitchell is a great point guard. But at times they can go on very, very dry spell. They can go on a super dry spell on offense, and the Drake defense is also very, very good. Give me Missouri though. I like the SEC a lot in this tournament.
Like I said, clash of styles here. I mean, Drake is the slowest team in the country, but they pair it with a decent offense, top 100 in KenPom, and a top 50 defense. Missouri's been on a slide heading into this thing. They've lost 4 of their last 5. But that's exactly why, this is fun. Like these are decisions to make. But I think I agree with Jim here. I think Drake gives them a lot of trouble with the way that they play. And I think it'll frustrate Missouri. I think if Missouri doesn't make 12 threes, they're going to lose just because of how slow this game is going to be. And I don't think they will. I think they had their peak earlier in the season. So I'm going with Drake pulling the upset. Moving on now. I don't think there's a lot to talk about here. I think UNC Wilmington is lucky to be in this thing. But Texas Tech versus UNC Wilmington in the 3 versus 14 matchup. What do you think, Eli?
Yeah, Texas Tech, another one of those fairly hot teams coming into this tournament. Come up just short in their conference tournament, but yeah, Texas Tech. I'm going to take them in this. UNC. I don't know much about them. I haven't really looked at this game. It was just one of those things that I saw Texas Tech and they're hot, and I'm going to take them.
Well, you, Jim.
I think Wilmington could be one of those teams that for sure put up a fight. But, I mean, one of the best forwards in all of college basketball is on Texas Tech. They're playing pretty well. JT Toppin is one of the best in the country. I'm going to stick with Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech will it'll be a closer game than people think, but I think Texas Tech comes with a win.
I agree. I just don't think Wilmington has the defense to slow down a top 10 KenPom offense in Texas Tech. Not much more needs to be said. Texas Tech moves on. Another great matchup here. This is one of the more fun ones in the first round. Kansas versus Arkansas, 7 versus 10. What do you feel about that one, Jim?
I think Arkansas has been playing their best basketball towards the end of the season. And you said before, I mean, you get that blue blood in that 7 spot. They got Hunter Dickinson, who's still one of the best centers in the country, if not, the best. Kansas just hasn't been playing what like Kansas usually is. But they got Zeke Mayo, who's a really good scorer. Um, and I'm pretty sure Boogie Fland is back, right? I'm pretty sure he's back, but
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to hurt them or if that's going to benefit them. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm going to stick with the SEC here. I think Arkansas has been playing their best basketball towards late in the season. But I'm going to go with Calipari actually getting out of the first round and getting a win here over Kansas.
Yeah, I don't want to, but give me the 2024 Kentucky Wildcats to advance to the round of 32. Hunter Dickinson's one of the best. Which it's. I think at times, I think what the strategy against Kansas is to run the high pace, run fast, because run the fast offense, and Calipari has shown in the past that he can do that, and it's going to be a fun matchup. One of those first round matchups. It's tough to pick against one of the best bigs in the country in March, but Kansas has just been very when they are bad, it's been bad. And I think Arkansas has the bigs to shut off Dickinson for a time at least. They're a big team. Yeah, give me the 2024 Kentucky Wildcats.
That's especially what they are. I'm going to make the case for Kansas here. I know it's not going to change our pick. I've been overruled, but Kansas is still a really good defensive team. And Hunter Dickinson, I think, like Jim said, is still one of the best centers in the country. And if you remember last year, he chewed up Adu in Maui, and I don't think Avicic probably can block more of his shots, but I think he's more physical than Big Z, like every day of the week. I would pick Kansas in this one, but again, I've been overruled, so we are going with Arkansas. Quick one here, I believe. St. John's versus Omaha in the 2-15. What do you think about that one, Eli?
I think St. John's is one of the best defenses in the country. A lot of people say that they have a better defense than Tennessee's. BS. But yeah, give me St. John's. I don't think I have to think about this one much.
Jim?
Yeah, you don't think about this one much. I think St. John's will easily win by, I don't know, maybe 20 points. I think this is going to be just one of those onslaught games where no one really watches. So
Yeah,
give me the Johnnies.
100% agree. I think St. John's is way too much for Omaha. And that'll do it for the West. Moving back up to the East, probably another quick one. Duke versus American or Mount St. Mary's. What do you think about that one, Jim?
I think Duke should rest up Cooper Flag one more game. Don't play him. They don't need him. I think this is one of those where obviously Duke's been holding their own without Cooper Flag. But give him another day of rest. Get ready for one of these next two teams in the second round, because that second round is going to be a good game. So, like I said, rest Cooper Flag up, but Duke's going to have no problem.
Eli?
Yeah, dude. I think I agree. I think they should rest Cooper Flag. They're going to need him. They got the two teams that we're about to pick after this are two pretty good, can beat a top team in the nation teams. So no matter who they get out of Mississippi State, Baylor, I think that they're going to need a fully healthy Flag.
Yep.
But yeah, give me Duke.
Like y'all said, probably should risk Cooper Flag in this one. I mean, they won the ACC tournament without him, the championship game. Pretty easy pick there. But in this potential second round matchup, whoever they get from Mississippi State and Baylor, who do you think they get, Jim?
I'm trying to keep the SEC bias out of this, but Mississippi State has showed me a lot this year. I think they have the potential to be a really good SEC team. I feel like they struggled a little bit this year, but I'm going to roll with Josh Hubbard in this one. I think Baylor has two great players in Omir and Edgecombe. I think they're very good. But Keyshawn Murphy is, I feel like, going to be able to match Omir's style of play. And Josh Hubbard, you catch Josh Hubbard on one of those hot days, that's trouble. So I'm going to roll with the SEC here. This one could go either way. I mean, it's -1.5, so the numbers are saying it's going to be a good one. But I'm going to stick with SEC.
Yeah, Mississippi. I'm gonna go with Mississippi State on this one as well. Baylor's a very good team, but Mississippi State's another one of those teams. It's like they're a couple wins away from being ranked much higher in this tournament. They've played. I mean, they've had their struggles down the stretch, but it's the SEC, man. Like when you're mid-major in this conference, like it's like especially this year, you're gonna have you're gonna fall from grace quite a bit, but you're also gonna beat a Texas A&M, give Florida a battle, give Tennessee a battle. I don't know if y'all remember that game. It was one of those. We were coming into that game, and I was a little worried about them, but we survived. Yeah, give me Mississippi State.
I would have picked Baylor here. Again, I'm going to be overruled. I think Scott Drew's a better coach than Chris Jans. Baylor's been playing better recently. I mean, they're 2-2 in their last 4, but they lost to Houston by 4 points and Texas Tech by 2 points. I think they're finding their stride a little bit. And like I said, I just trust Scott Drew more than Chris Jans. But again, overruled for what I think is the third time in a row in close matchups, but that's how it goes. Oregon versus Liberty, 5 versus 12 here in the East. Interesting game. What are you feeling, Eli?
The Ducks have been very hot. They dropped one to, like I said earlier, the best team in the Big Ten in Michigan State. But other than that, they've been scorching down the stretch. At the beginning of the year, I think at one point, it was like us and them as like the two undefeated teams in the country. I think it was us, them, like Florida and like Dayton or something like that, as the only undefeateds. But they struggled down the stretch, and then at the end of the season, they got hot again, caught lightning in a bottle. I hope Liberty wins, but give me the Ducks.
What about you, Jim?
I'm the same. I think Jackson Shellstad's going to, be able to control the game here. I think Oregon wins. I think Oregon even covers the spread.
Yeah, I'm in agreement here. I think the only way Liberty has a chance is if you get the losing 5 games in a row in the middle of conference play, Oregon, which they haven't been in a while. It's been a month and a half since they've been that, and I think they're past that stretch of the season. They're past their low point. I think they're primed to make a run at a Sweet 16 here. So I'm also going with the Ducks.
I will say Liberty is a team to watch as well. They shoot 40% from 3. That's important in March.
Yeah.
They rebound well as well. So, but like I said, Oregon is on fire, and they're on fire at the right time, and it's March. That's got to go your gut on this one.
Yeah. Another one that I've seen a lot of upsets picked here in the 4 versus 13 in the East. You have Arizona. Shout out Tobe Awaka versus the Akron Zips. How are you feeling about this one, Jim?
I think Arizona should win. They should win because they're a very good rebounding team. They got Caleb Love and KJ Lewis who can. They got a couple guys that could score here, but what hurts them is, and I'm taking this off the ESPN site, but I have seen them play a couple games this year, and it seems like they leave a lot of wide open 3-pointers. And Akron is a good shooting team. They average 85 points per game. They're 17-1 in conference. You have to be a good basketball team to just do nothing but win. Now, I would take the plus 13.5 for sure. I think this is going to be a good game, but I'm still going to stick with Arizona. I just think the talent difference is going to be there, and I think they'll do enough to win this game.
I'm gonna go with Akron on this one. I like the 3. They have a lot of guys that can shoot the 3, a lot. 6 men even shooting well from 3. If you're gonna beat one of these teams that rebounds the ball well and that rebounds the ball well and plays good defense, you're going to have to hit from 3. We know that as Tennessee fans. When we usually lose, someone is going insane from 3.
Yep.
And I think that Akron, they're very hot right now. They're seeing the basket well. They're scoring efficiently. I'm going to go with the Zips.
Oh, big time upset from Eli. I kind of trust Caleb Love here, experienced player. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, like Eli just broke it down there. But I'm still sticking with the Wildcats. And Jim, you also picked Arizona, right?
Yes, yeah, I think I'm on Eli's side here, where I think Akron could really keep this a good game. I think the plus 13.5 is a good bet if you're a betting man, because they could shoot the ball, they could shoot lights out. But again, I think between Caleb Love has been here, he's a good guard. He's been playing really well lately. I just think Arizona could definitely they could take this game. That's only. I just have a feeling they're just going to take it some way somehow.
Gotcha. Moving on, 6 versus 11 in the East. We have BYU versus VCU. Eli, how you feeling about that one?
Everyone loves BYU. VCU's hot, very hot. I really want to take the upset here, but
take it.
I'm gonna go BYU. They're also very hot. They also just got pounded by Houston, but Houston's Houston. Give me BYU. I'm gonna go BYU. I have too many upsets.
Well, how you feeling, Jim?
I'm going the upset here, and let me tell you why. I mean, VCU's defense is their strength. Okay, they're allowing only 62.5 points per game. They're the 9th best scoring defense in the country. I just think they're just going to hang around. I think VCU can score enough to where it frustrates BYU and control. If they could control Richie Saunders, I think VCU comes out with the win. I think it's going to be a really good game, this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with VCU too. I think.
Dang, we could have had a sweep.
I think BYU's too hot. I think they're primed for a crash down to earth here in the first round against, like you said, Jim, a team that plays real good defense that can slow them down, and they'll hang around, and then they'll make a late run. That's how I see this going.
Defense
and the spread
championships.
Yeah, and the spread I think is only 3.5 here. I mean, this is expected to be a really close game, but again, I think the defense wins out here. I think Virginia Commonwealth University and the Rams move on. So, another upset. Wisconsin, 3 seed, Montana, 14 seed. According to Ken Palm, Montana is the luckiest team in the country. That's a metric. You know what I'm saying? That's a stat. And Wisconsin is made a run to the Big Ten championship game, came up short. But how you feeling, Jim?
Another one that could be an upset. They got Money Williams on their team. I mean, the dude is just straight money. He'll probably be a transfer to Tennessee next year. But not picking the upset. I think Wisconsin's one of the best teams in the tournament this year. They're very well-rounded. They could play defense. They could score. I just don't see Montana beating them. I think Wisconsin will get to the next round. But another one that I think Wisconsin could even cover the spread of 16.5. But that's just me.
What about you, Eli?
Insane stat here. Montana has won 14 of their last 15 games.
Hot.
They are red hot. Red hot. But so Wisconsin's not red hot, but they're pretty hot. They made a pretty great run, beating a Michigan State team that I can't harp on. Like I said, they're the best team in the Big Ten. And Montana's an attractive Cinderella though, and man, I'm gonna go Montana. Give me I like Muddy Williams. I want him in orange.
Hey, we saw it firsthand back in November. I mean, he's a good player. He can get hot
We also
quickly.
beat them by 40 though, so
I know, but that doesn't take away from him being a good player.
yeah.
But I just don't see it. Like I said, whatever metric they use to calculate luck, Montana was the luckiest. However, they first in the Big Sky, 125 games. Like Eli said, they're hot. I think Wisconsin just wins out just because they're more athletic. I think, like you said, Jim, Tennessee beat them by 40. So I don't expect that going much differently. I think Wisconsin covers the spread pretty easily here. We're spoiling all your upsets, Eli. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I have my own bracket for a reason.
Another interesting game here. We have St. Mary's, who is just a pack of slugs. They put it in the mud versus Vanderbilt, pretty up-tempo team in the 7 versus 10 here in the East. How are you feeling about this one, Eli?
St. Mary's, since the beginning of the year, has been one of my favorite teams to watch. They are mean. They play, I don't want to say dirty, but they get after it, and I love that, and I hate Vanderbilt. We know they're a bunch of sissies up there in Nashville. Give me St. Mary's.
What about you, Jim?
I don't know, man. Vanderbilt has been gritty. St. Mary's plays a really slow pace. Again, my SEC bias is coming into play. I think Vanderbilt's played really well this year. I think this is going to be a really good game. Hence the -3.5 point favorite for St. Mary's. But I think Vandy could sneak this one out. I think Vandy's a real threat to make a little bit of a run in the tourney.
I could see it, but at the same time, Vanderbilt is very cold right now. Like egregiously cold. Then again, they play in the SEC, so there's that.
Yeah. I mean, Vanderbilt does come in losing their last 3 games here. But all 3 were against teams fighting their rear ends off to get into the tournament in Arkansas, Georgia, and Texas. None of them were blowouts. You could argue the Arkansas game was a blowout in Nashville a week and a half ago, but I still think Vanderbilt finds a way to win here. I thought Vanderbilt just has a knack for making luck merchant threes. And I think they make enough of them to get past St. Mary's. And they also, for as undersized as they are in the post, they are surprisingly good at rebounding. And I think that's going to be a big thing in this game. So I'm going with Vanderbilt. And Jim, you went with Vanderbilt too? So Vanderbilt moves on?
Mm-hmm.
All right, there you have it. But I don't agree that they'll make a big run because of who their second round matchup will most likely. Yeah. Alabama versus Robert Morris. Do they even have a chance?
No.
Yeah.
I know Grant Nelson is questionable, but they don't need him.
Yeah. Robert Morris is, I think, according to Kim Palm, the worst 15 seed here. So, I mean, actually, they're one of the best 15 seeds, but still, I don't think it matters much. I think Alabama is going to be ready to make a statement here, and their fast pace will be enough. and I don't think anybody disagrees. So we are now to Tennessee's region, the Midwest. First matchup, quickly again. I think
Duke
Houston,
or not Duke?
Yeah.
Houston.
Houston versus SIUE. So any cases for SIUE in this game?
No, 0% chance.
Yeah, this is the first time in a few years that Houston will pair a pretty good offense with their always great defense, and I think they're definitely not losing the first round. So, but this next matchup, I think is, to me, it's the easiest pick of any of the 8-9 matchups. Jim, what are you feeling about Bulldogs versus Bulldogs, Gonzaga versus Georgia?
Now, I think Georgia has been playing really well to end the season. I don't know, man. I just think Gonzaga's fast-paced offense with a mixture between probably the best point guard and one of the best point guards in the country, Ryan Nembhard. They have one of the best centers in the country in Graham Ike. They have a guy, Khalif Battle, who came from the SEC last year. And they got a really good coach. But Georgia does play well. So this is one that I'm going to roll with the Zags here because they've been here the past couple of years. But Georgia could definitely win this game. It's just I'm rolling with the Zags here.
When I see experience combined with rebounding, combined with shooting the ball well, I think that's a telltale sign of a team that could make a crazy run and have a couple crazy upsets. So I like the Zags. So give me the Zags.
Yeah, we're 3 for 3 here. This is one of the easiest picks in the first round to me of games that are comparable teams. Gonzaga is 9th in the KenPom ratings, and I don't know how they're an 8 seed. It blows my mind. I think they should be at worst a 5 seed, but they're an 8 seed, and Georgia's running into them. And I think Georgia, the only reason they're here is because they won a few games at the end, important games. I mean, they've won 4 of their last 5. They had that huge upset over Florida at home, beat Texas, beat South Carolina, beat Vanderbilt. But I think their run to get here doesn't last long. Gonzaga, like Eli said, more experienced, great team, primed to make a run. 5 versus 12 in the Midwest. Clemson versus McNeese. Will Wade, he's here again. And last year, I can't remember if McNeese won in the first round or not last year, but it's another trendy pick. How are you feeling about this one, Eli?
Man, I don't. It's a popular one that everyone's picking because McNeese, we've had their eye on them since the beginning of the year when they almost beat Bama. They played Mississippi State well, but man, do I like Chase Hunter? I like Clemson. I think Clemson. It's a fun. This is why we love March. We get these matchups. Of a very good Clemson team and a very hot, very good McNeese team. They haven't seen a good team in a while. That's why I'm going to take Clemson. Clemson, also hasn't seen a very good team in a while. But Chase Hunter, that's what's pulling me. I like him a lot. Give me Clemson. Y'all might pick different. Y'all probably are going to pick different, but I'm going to take Clemson.
How you feeling, Jim?
I'm feeling the same way. I think Clemson is a really good basketball team. I think this whole trendy pick between McNeese is just gonna, I don't know. These kids are on social media and they know people are picking them to win, and I think it's gonna get in their head, and I think it's gonna piss off the Clemson Tigers. I think Clemson's gonna win this game. I think it's gonna be a lot closer than people think. I think it's gonna be a really good basketball game, but Clemson has beaten, 2 really good teams this year and showed that they can hang around. So I'm going to take Clemson here.
I agree. Clemson is just for as bad as the ACC is, I think Clemson is a good team. I think they would have made the tournament in the SEC too. I really like the way Clemson plays, so I don't think McNeese knocks them off here. Another one that I've seen a lot of people pick: Purdue 4 seed, High Point 13 seed. Does High Point pull off the upset, Jim?
No. I know everyone's picking High Point. Everyone, it's Mr. Cinderella. But hey, Purdue has a lot of big wins this year. I mean, they beat Bama, they beat Michigan, they beat Maryland, they beat Oregon, they beat Ole Miss, they beat UCLA. Now they are kind of cold. They have dropped 6 of their last 9 games, but I'm going to stick with Purdue. They've been here before. They what was it 2 years ago where they lost in the first round? I mean, they know what it takes to win here, and they have a good coach. So I'm going to take Purdue Boilermakers to get out of the first round.
Man, I do not like Purdue, especially after last year. The Panthers have won 16 of their last 17 games, and they are deep. They have a lot of dudes getting minutes. Man, I like it. I think I'm going to go with the Panthers on this one. They shoot it well. They rebound it well. Purdue doesn't have Edey. They've tried to replace him. They can't. Give me High Point.
Yeah. Kaufman Wren is pretty good as an Edey replacement. He is averaging a lot of points, but my best advice in this game would be take the over. High Point can score the ball. I mean, that's why they're in this spot. Like, they are 25th in offensive rating on KenPom, but their defense is terrible. And Purdue is a similar story. They come in top 10 on offense in KenPom. Their defense is in the low 60s. I still think Purdue pulls this out. But, again, take the over. But Purdue moves on. The other 11 seed playing game here, Texas versus Xavier. 2 teams got in by the skin of their teeth. Are we rolling with the SEC here?
I like Illinois.
In the play-in game.
Texas no.
versus
Yeah,
Xavier.
Texas. Absolutely,
Okay.
Texas. Yeah, they're
I'm
pretty
on
hot.
The opposite, bro. I think Xavier is going to win. I
I was
think
like,
Xavier wins and then beats Illinois.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
These are the 2 best 11 seed playing games I've seen in a few, at least 4 or 5 years. It's hard to pick against Trey Johnson for me, though. But, Eli, do you think Illinois beats Texas or Xavier no matter who wins that game?
Yes, absolutely. They're pretty hot as well. We played them earlier this season. What a game that was.
Yeah.
Yakachonis, and I think they got the better usage. I like Illinois. I like Illinois a lot in this tournament. They've beat some really good teams down the stretch. They lost to Maryland. Like I said, Maryland's my darling in this tournament. But they beat Purdue, Michigan, Iowa twice. Lost a close one. And, they looks like they lost a close one to Michigan State, but they got pounded by Duke. Man, I like them. I like Illinois, though. Sleeper for sure in this one.
I'm sorry, Jim. I think I agree with Eli. I think Illinois just had – I think Illinois just has too much for either Texas or Xavier here. So, for our purposes, Illinois moves on. But this next game, Tennessee fans will be watching this. 3-seed Kentucky, 14-seed Troy. Jim, does Kentucky make it out of the first round this year?
I think they do. I think now Jackson Robinson's out for the year, correct?
Yeah, he's not coming back. I think Lamont Butler is likely to be back, but Jackson Robertson, he is done.
Now they got Otega away. Kentucky should win this game, but the biggest thing is they don't do well with teams that, I mean, minus us because they beat us twice, but they don't do well with teams that out muscle them, or out rebound them, and Troy could definitely do that. But I'm sticking with the Wildcats. I think they should get out of the first round. I would love if they didn't. I would love it, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kentucky. I think we're kind of destined to play them in the Sweet 16 at this point. Yeah, give me Troy. They don't shoot the three well. I love the three ball in March. I don't know if y'all have noticed that yet. They rebound highly. Gritty team, but Kentucky also is. It's a different team than those Cal teams, but with Jackson Robinson being out, it's going to be tough. Give me Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think they finally get out of the first round here, break their bad luck streak in that first round. And now 7 versus 10, UCLA versus Utah State. How do you see this one going, Eli?
People are UCLA kind of scares me in that round of 32. I don't know about y'all. I don't know if y'all have looked at them. They score.
Yeah.
They can score. Yeah, give me UCLA in this one. I'm a little worried about them, but I don't think Utah State is that good of a team, to be honest with you. So,
Jim, you sound like you're in disagreement.
I am. Utah State has one of the deepest benches that probably in the whole tourney. I mean, they can flat out score. UCLA has beaten some good teams. I'm not saying that this is going to be the Utah State show, but I'm picking Utah State here based off their depth on their bench and the fact that they could score the basketball. I just think Utah State sneaks it. I think this is going to be one of those that's a really good game, and it could go either way.
My thing is UCLA can score with the best of them, but they also can play gritty, tough, grinded out games too. So I think they're a versatile squad.
Yeah,
I don't like Utah State.
I think Utah State's defense is going to kill them here. They're 160th in KenPom as far as defensive rating. And, Utah State does have a better offense according to KenPom, but UCLA is not far behind. Utah State comes in 17 on KenPom in offensive efficiency. UCLA comes in around in the low 30s. I'm going to go with the blue blood here. UCLA. I'm sorry, Jim.
That's okay. We'll come back to it.
And now the Vols. Will they have any trouble with the Wofford Terriers, Jim?
Well,
go ahead. I'm agreeing with you. I think Tennessee is going to come out to play. I don't think they're going to mess around. Chaz Lanier's coming to life. Sakai Ziegel's been playing his best basketball. Jemai Mashak has been playing his best basketball. Jordan Gainey is just got a little confidence booster in that SEC championship game. And the team's been playing really well. I just don't see Wofford having any chance.
Wofford, I think they're a team that probably shouldn't be in this tournament. As a UTC fan, I go there. It'd be interesting to see Tennessee versus UTC in this one, but Wofford, they didn't run into UTC in the SoCon tournament. Tennessee, I think this is a get-right game. Fill out the refs. Understand how they're going to call games. It's going to be the same crew up until you play in the Sweet 16 or for the next two rounds. Fill it out. Igor, get in there and play understand how the refs call. You've been struggling recently. I think this is going to be a great game for him to get back on track. I don't know if y'all saw Chaz near the end of the game. He looked pissed on the bench. I was like, oh, wait, man, we're going to the Final Four after I saw that.
That's what I'm
go
talking about.
Vols.
That's what I'm
Go
talking
Vols.
about. I think to me, Wofford just has too bad of a defense, and they play too slow to even give Tennessee a lot of trouble here. It would take a disaster of magnanimous proportions for Tennessee to lose this game, and I do not think that happens. Can't overlook them, but I think Tennessee covers the spread pretty easily here. I think it's a lot like the first round versus St. Peter's last year, where Tennessee blows the game open early in that second half. And that'll do it for the first round. We're a little over halfway through. So if y'all don't mind, we'll go with Auburn versus Creighton to kick off the round of 32. Jim, what are you feeling there?
I think this is trouble for Auburn. Not saying they shouldn't win. I think Auburn, they should win this game. But Creighton is a good basketball team with a lot of veterans. And I think they knock off Auburn. I think some way, somehow, Kalkbrenner is a problem for Janai Broom. He's a great defender, stays out of foul trouble. And this is the one team that I was talking about before we even started this pod that I think Creighton could make a little bit of a run. And if they could pass Auburn, watch out for Creighton. That's all I'm saying.
Creighton is going to beat Auburn, and I cannot wait to watch it. I cannot wait. Kalkbrenner is going to get the experience. Give Creighton. They're going to I think if there's a person that can give Janai Broom, shut him down at least, it's Kalkbrenner. I like him a lot, and I think that he might be better than Broom. Auburn's been very cold. They've lost 3 of their last 4. They're a good basketball team. I think, honestly, you might be sleeping on them, but give me Creighton. Man, I like Creighton.
I'm in agreement. I think Creighton gets it done. I think Auburn, the only time Bruce Pearl has taken them past the second round, or even past the second round, was when they made the Final Four 6 years ago. Other than that, it's been first or second round exits, and I think they're bound for a second round exit here because, like you said, Eli, they've kind of limped in to the tournament. So I love the upset. I'm picking Creighton to move on. Michigan versus Texas A&M, round of 32. Jim, what do you think?
I think this is a bad spot for Texas A&M. We talked about the 2 forwards on Michigan. You got a good guard that could keep up with Wade Taylor and Trey Donaldson. I'm going Michigan here. And I think it's because I think they could keep up with the rebounding A&M is usually really good at. It's going to be a physical game, but Michigan, when we talked about it in the first round, they play well in these tight games, and I'm just leaning Michigan here.
I'm going to go Texas A&M here just because of experience. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. If it happens, I still think UC San Diego could knock off. Yale could knock. This game couldn't even, neither one of these teams could be here. But if it happens, it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm going to go Texas A&M. I like the experience. I like Wade Taylor. Yeah.
I like Michigan. Again, the Twin Towers. If there's one team that can slow down Texas A&M's ability to get rebounds, it's the guys that have 2 7-footers. So I'm in agreement with Jim. Michigan moves on to the Sweet 16. Ole Miss versus Iowa State. Does the SEC win the day here? Eli, what do you think?
Iowa State Give me Ole Miss. Man, I like the SEC in this tournament. Like I continue to harp, good defense, slow pay. Like I said, baby Tennessee. They're an intriguing team to watch. They play great defense, get you far in March. So do Iowa State. It's gonna be a gritty game. Let's see how the refs call that. That's a big factor.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Ole Miss.
Jim?
Going the opposite. I think Iowa State is going to just be kind of like another Tennessee to them, to where they're just going to lean on their defense. And they got a guy, Curtis Jones, who could score. Now, again, this is going to be a close game, regardless. This is why we love March. It's a coin flip between potential matchups. We don't even know if this is going to happen. So I'm going Iowa State here just because of defense. And they barely beat us at home. And I'm leaning Iowa State here. Ryan, I'm giving you the floor.
I kind of don't like Ole Miss as a team, really. I think, like Eli said, they're a knockoff of what Tennessee has been, and I know they beat us, whatever. But like you said, Jim, it was at home, and it took a run of scoring in those last 10 minutes that was just annoying to watch. A lot of shots bouncing in. I don't think Ole Miss is that good. I think they're way worse than a 6 seed, and I think Iowa State takes care of them pretty easily. What about New Mexico versus Michigan State? Eli.
Yeah, definitely Michigan State. Like I said, they're the best team in the Big Ten. They have been hot, very hot, up until the tournament when they dropped one to a good Wisconsin team. They're hungry. I like Michigan State a lot. They honestly gave Bama and Tennessee a little trouble. Like I said, they'd probably be the top 2 seed in a year where we didn't have 2 1 seeds as 2 seeds.
Yeah. What about you, Jim?
I'm going with the Lobos here. And let me tell you why. Hey, they could put up points. They're quick. Their tempo is really fast. They're top 25 in defensive efficiency and defensive rebounding. I think New Mexico is just going to get out and go. And Michigan State does struggle sometimes where they hit scoring droughts, and you cannot do that against New Mexico with their tempo and how they score. And that's the only reason I'm going with them. I just think New Mexico is going to be that team that makes a run to the Sweet 16, and no one expects it because everyone's picking Michigan State. Now, it's not wrong to pick Michigan State, but I just think if they go into a scoring drought against New Mexico, it's going to be hard to catch up.
Yeah. I would love to see that, but I trust Tom Izzo immensely. I think he'll have his boys ready to play that game. And I think they will not be overlooking the Lobos, and I think they move on to the Sweet 16 there. Back to the West, round of 32 matchups. Florida versus Oklahoma. Does Oklahoma's magic run out, Jim?
Yes. Again, I think Florida is playing the best basketball that they could play right now, and I just don't think that Oklahoma is going to be able to just keep that magic going. They destroyed Oklahoma earlier this year, and I think they do it again. I think Florida just rolls past them.
Yeah, give me Florida. I think they're the best team in the country.
Yeah, I don't think much more needs to be said. Florida moves on. How about your darling, Eli? Does Maryland get past Memphis in the round of 32?
Yes. They're my darling. I like Maryland a lot. I really do. They're not deep, but man, is Queen fun to watch.
Yeah, like I said earlier, those 5 are awesome. Jim, do you agree? Does Memphis get knocked out?
Yeah, I agree. I think Maryland just has the better defense. and gets the job done. So that's just
Yeah.
my opinion. I think Maryland moves forward.
Yeah, there's not many starting lineups that play better together than Maryland's. So it's 3 for 3 there. Terrapins move on. Drake, does their tempo give Texas Tech trouble? Jim.
I think it does. I think it does. I think this game's going to be really good. I think this is one of those where Drake could keep themselves in it. But I think Texas Tech is too strong. I think Texas Tech ends that little Cinderella of a run, whatever you would call it. I'm going the Red Raiders here.
I love defense, boys. Yeah, give me Texas Tech.
I agree. I think it's going to take a little bit more than sticking it in the mud for Drake to move on. So the Red Raiders move on there. A potential, just very Italian game here. Patino versus Calipari, Arkansas versus St. John's. How you see that one going, Eli?
I love defense. Give me St. John's. St. John's, they're probably number 2 behind us. And what are they in KenPom defensive efficiency? Let me look this up real quick.
St.
I have it
John's?
right here. Yeah, they're number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all I got to say. Defense wins out in March. Usually, Calipari, the 2024 Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah.
Give me St. John's.
Jim, do you agree?
I agree. I think Arkansas puts up a good fight at the beginning of the game, but that defense gets to them, and the Johnnies move forward. And this is the one side of the bracket where you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I also agree there. I think Patino's a better coach. That's all that needs to be said. I think he has the better team too. Duke versus Mississippi State, starting off in the East, round of 32 matchups. How do you see that one going down, Jim?
I think this is when you see Cooper Flagg come back, and I think he just does Cooper Flagg things. I think the Duke's team is way better when Cooper Flagg is in play. I mean, the kid's a stud. Probably the best player we've seen in a long time.
Yep.
And I think he should be National Player of the Year. Don't care what everyone says about Janai Broome. I think Cooper Flagg he's just the best player in the country, in my opinion. So I'm going to take Duke here just because their defense is pretty good and Cooper Flagg's going to be back. But I think Mississippi State puts up a fight in the first half, and then it just gets bad after they make adjustments.
Yeah, Duke is give me Duke and Flagg. Honestly, I think this might be he might play in the first round just to get accustomed to feeling it on his ankle. I think that Duke's gonna crush Mississippi State. They're gonna be like, hey, we're still here to play. It's gonna be one of those statement wins.
I think Hubbard would have to have 50 points for Mississippi State to win. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Like, Duke just has too much. I mean, they even without Flagg for the last game and a half for the ACC tournament, they didn't miss a beat really. I mean, they're good besides Flagg too. I mean, but add in Flagg and that they're one of the best teams in this tournament by far. So Duke, Sweet 16 bound. Oregon versus Arizona. Interesting game. How do you see this one going down, Eli?
I had Akron beating Arizona. I talked about Oregon earlier. They're very hot. I'm going to take Oregon. Akron is not Akron, but Arizona's a pretty good team. But Oregon is scorching. Did they play? They played. Let me see.
I don't know if they did since Oregon moved to the Big Ten.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. Sorry. I'm going to take Oregon. They're hot right now at the right time.
Jim?
I just think this is one of those teams that somehow, some way, that they played pretty bad all year, Arizona. Like, they weren't – kind of like Kansas, where Kansas just didn't play the way that they played. They get the march, and somehow some way they do something. So I don't know why, but my gut's telling me to go Arizona here. But Oregon could easily win this game. I'm just going Arizona.
I think the reason that you're percolating on their Jim is Caleb Love. I think he is the X factor in this matchup. And I also
KJ
have
Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, they're both awesome, and I think guard play rules the day in March, and I think Arizona gets it done to move on to face Duke. VCU versus Wisconsin. Jim.
I think Wisconsin's gonna have trouble in this one just because of how good VCU's defense is. I think VCU, in my opinion, is gonna be my Cinderella team that just makes that run to the Sweet 16. I'm picking VCU here to beat Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's a good team. VCU is also a good team. They won me a lot of money over the past couple of weeks. I didn't pick them in the round of 64. Man, last year told me that the Cinderella runs are not as common as they used to. I'm gonna go Wisconsin.
I like VCU because Wisconsin, in the recent years, they've had an ability to shy away from the moment, especially in the early rounds. And I think that continues. I'm also going with VCU. I just think, like Jim said, the defense wins out here. And Wisconsin, just like Tennessee, can go on ridiculous stretches where they don't score. And I mean, every team, you can say that about every team, but it just seems like Wisconsin, I mean, they scored in the low 50s in the championship game against Michigan. So when they run into a good defense, it's tough for them. And I think they do against VCU, and I think VCU moves on. 10 versus 2. Does Vanderbilt have a shot to knock off the Crimson Tide? Jim.
They definitely have a shot. I mean, Vanderbilt beat them in football. No one thought that was going to happen either. So, I think this could be a good game. I really do. I'm still leaning Alabama here. I mean, they can score lights out. They got Mark Sears, but Jason Edwards, man, I'm telling you, that kid he just hits crazy shots, and I think this could be one of those where the game stays close enough, and Jason Edwards hits a game winner, type thing.
Uh-oh.
Screw it. I'm going Vandy. I don't even care.
Yeah. Give me Bama. They dropped 103 on Vanderbilt in Nashville, I'm pretty sure. No. It was in Tuscaloosa. Vanderbilt, gritty team. They beat us earlier in the year. They're cold. They're very cold. Bama's hungry. A little bitter taste in their mouth after getting smacked by Florida. Bama, they have the experience. Sears is about my dad's age. Give me Bama.
As much as I want to see Alabama go down, I still think they pull it off. I just don't see Vanderbilt having the horses to keep up with them if everything's going right for Alabama. Now, if Alabama's missing shots, Vanderbilt has a very good chance to beat them, but I think Alabama is hitting shots, and I think they do move on to the Sweet 16. And that'll get us to the Midwest in one of the toughest draws for a 1 seed in this tournament. 1 versus 8, Houston versus Gonzaga in the second round. Eli, how do you see that going?
Give me Gonzaga. Houston has been escaping. Been watching them. I've been wanting that 1 seed. They've been escaping like this all year. It's time. Their time is up.
Jim?
Give me the Zags, bro. I just think the Zags offense is going to match that Houston defense. They love tempo. Graham Ike, if he could stay out of foul trouble, is going to be a problem. Khalif Battle could hit shots. Ryan Nembhard's one of the best point guards in the country. I think this is where Houston messes up. I think the Zags are going to be running to the Sweet 16.
3 for 3. Zags move on. Easy. Easiest pick of the night, actually.
Yeah,
Are
I
we
think so,
picking
too.
that
I'm
way
gonna be
because
with-
that's what
I'm-
we?
I think it's easy. I think that's easy. I just think if the Zags have the night that we know that they can have, I think it's going to be trouble for Houston.
What were you saying, Eli? Are we picking Gonzaga because we're scared of Houston? No.
No, are we
I'd
picking
rather play
Gonzaga because
Houston.
that's what we
I'd
want?
rather
Is
play
what I was
Houston.
saying.
I'd rather play Houston.
Me too. Me too.
Dude, I agree. Good point though. Houston, dude, we've been compared to them for years at this point.
They've been compared to us.
I like that. Yeah, Zags. I'm pretty confident about it, but that I want to see it.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those blue blood type teams, one of the consistent programs with a mid seed that I think will give these higher seeds trouble. So Clemson versus Purdue, 5 versus 4 here in the round of 32. Jim, how do you see that one going?
I think this one's going to be one of those ugly games where it's just somewhat like a 58 to like 55 type game where both these teams kind of struggle, but I think Purdue gets out of here. I think Clemson wins this game. I really do. I think Clemson pulls it out some way, somehow.
Yeah, I didn't have. I had High Point beating Purdue. Like I said, I like Clemson. They shoot the ball so well. They beat some really good teams, and Chase Hunter, I love him. He's fun to watch.
I take it back. I'm changing my answer. I'm going Purdue.
For why?
I don't think Clemson has someone that could stop Trey Kaufman-Renn. I just think that's going to be a Trey Kaufman-Renn like kind of legacy game. But
Eli, is Chase Hunter the dude with the white dude with the curly hair?
yes, good point guard.
Yes,
Then I'm going.
he's like light skinned.
No,
I think
he's playing Braden Smith, another probably one of the
I
best
think
point guards in the country.
Shiflin is the one. I can't say his last name. He's the one with the curly hair, the white dude with the curly hair.
Yeah, he's going to get bullied by Trey Kaufman-Renn.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening for Clemson with that dude covering Kaufman-Renn. like Jim just said. Also, Braden Smith, the guards rule the day in March. I got to go with Purdue too. Sorry.
It's all right.
Illinois. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Illinois versus Kentucky. Jim,
I'm just
go.
excited because this is where Kentucky loses. I think,
Mm.
and the only reason I say that is because I think if they had Jackson Robinson, they had a fully healthy team. I think Kentucky runs this game, and I think it still could happen. But I'm going Illinois here just because they have a slightly better defense, but they could also score the basketball. I'm just going Illinois here. I don't know why. I also don't want to play Kentucky because they've been a matchup nightmare. But I'm going Illinois here. I think Illinois can win this game.
Strictly, I think it's kind of destiny that we play Kentucky in the Sweet 16. But who knows? I think I like Illinois in this matchup, but I'm going to take Kentucky just because I want to see him. I just want to play Kentucky
I also
again.
I want Ryan to be the tiebreaker here.
I think Kentucky beats Illinois. I think the difference is
We'll come back to this, people. Just remember.
I think the difference is Amari Williams. I think he's the difference when Tennessee plays Kentucky too. And in the regular season, in those 2 games Tennessee lost. So Tennessee's going to have to find a way to guard him. And Kentucky moves on to the Sweet 16. Illinois is just – they're very hot and cold to me. And I think Kentucky has enough to beat them. UCLA versus Tennessee. Eli.
Tennessee, of course, but I will say UCLA, they rebound the ball well from the guard position. They can score when they want to. They're bigger. give me the Vols, of course, but at the same time, it's not gonna be easy. It's March. I just don't want us overlooking someone, especially if I think it'll be honestly, Illinois, Kentucky will probably be the late night time slot. I just don't want to get caught looking ahead to Kentucky, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We got a week. We got a week till we get there, but yeah, give me the Vols.
Jimbo.
I'm of course taking us, but like Eli said, I just think this is going to be a really good game. I don't see Tennessee winning by 15 here. I think it's going to be like a 7-point to 8-point win, maybe even less, maybe like a 5-point win. Because UCLA, I mean, they keep their opponents down to in the 65-point range, but it all depends. Tennessee could score lights out when they want to, so I'm going Tennessee here, obviously, but it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, if it is UCLA that Tennessee plays in the second round, I would like that better than playing Utah State. Utah State has a better offense; they're faster, play at a higher tempo,
Good bench too.
And Tennessee's more likely to overlook Utah State than a blue blood in UCLA. So
I'm so excited to see Kentucky. I'm so pumped. That's vengeance. Oh, that still have that bitter taste, and I know that the boys have that bitter taste too.
Yeah, Sweet 16 is set. Back up to the south. Creighton versus Michigan. How do you see that going down, Eli?
Creighton, Creighton, Kalkbrenner, sleeper. Y'all might see me ride Creighton all the way to the Final Four here if they get there.
Jim,
I've been saying it since we began talking about Creighton. I'm on the same wavelength here. I think Creighton is that sneaky team that once they beat Auburn, they get that confidence and pass Michigan here.
it doesn't matter, but I disagree. I think, again, those two big men. I mean, two is better than one really good big men here. So I would take Michigan, but I'm overruled. So Creighton moves on to the
Trust
Elite
me,
Eight.
I want Michigan to win, so they play Michigan State in the Elite Eight.
Yeah. And we'll go ahead and go into that one. Iowa State versus Michigan State. Why does Michigan State move on, Jim?
Well, I'm just kind of hoping it happens. I think this game's going to be a great game. I think either team could win. I'm going coaching experience here and taking the Spartans. I think the Cyclones could easily win here, but
it's going to be a fun matchup if we get it. I don't think I didn't pick Iowa State. I picked Ole Miss. It's some that South region has some. I think this might be a hot take. I think it's the best region. The deepest region that is. It's. I think you're going to see a lot of noise up there. It's going to be unpredictable almost. Yeah, give me Michigan State. I like them a lot.
Yeah, like Jim said, I really think the coaching is the difference there. Tom Izzo, man, makes it to the Elite Eight. Florida versus Maryland, Sweet 16 in the West, 1 versus 4. Eli, it's your darling. Do they get past Florida?
Man, I want them to, but no. I think Florida's I want them to so bad. I think if anyone's – they're just so deep and they shoot the ball. I hate Florida. Don't get me wrong. But, God, I have to respect them. I respect Florida 20 million times more than I do the Auburn Tigers when it comes to this team this year. Other than that, they're my least favorite program. I hate Florida, but I think this is where you see Mary. I think they're going to give them a good game, but give me Florida.
What about you, Jim?
Go Terps. Terps win it. Upset fashion, Terps win the game here.
You know what, Jim? Jim, I agree. Crab 5 is not going down. Maryland moves on. Florida is flying too close to the sun.
This was my darling, guys.
Well,
You lost them.
we're
No,
carrying
no,
them for
no,
you.
no.
Because y'all did. No, I won't pick them just because y'all did.
No, you can't.
No. Go Terps. Go Terps. Come on now.
Maryland moves on. Texas Tech versus St. John's. How you see that going, Jim?
I had St. John's winning this side of the bracket here, regardless, because defense wins championships. I'm going with Johnny's. Johnny's to get on to the Elite Eight.
It's going to be a good game if we get it. Two pretty good defenses, probably two of the better defenses, definitely two of the better defenses in the country. Yeah, give me St. John's.
Yeah. Another clash of styles, really. Texas Tech, top 10 Ken Palm offense. St. John's, number 1 Ken Palm defense. Like you said, Jim, defense wins championships. Give me St. John's. Give me the Red Storm storming into the Elite Eight. Back to the East, Duke versus Arizona. How do you see that going, Eli?
Cooper Flag and Duke roll.
You in agreement, Jim?
Yeah, I think Duke's really good this year. I think Duke gets past them.
I agree too. I just
want to see Cooper Flag in the Final Four. That's why I'm picking like this. Of course, I also don't think Arizona's making it past the first round, but Duke's gonna roll.
I agree. I think just Duke is too powerful to not make a real deep run here. VCU versus Alabama. Jim, any magic there, or does Alabama move on?
Of course there's magic there. Come on.
Uh-oh.
Bama wins. Bama's just too I think Bama has too much firepower for VCU. I think they do fine and get to the Elite Eight.
Gonzaga versus Purdue. Midwest. Eli, what goes down?
I'm going to take the Zags. I don't like Purdue. I didn't have them coming this far anyways. Gonzaga's sleepy. They're a sleeper. Like y'all were saying, I don't want to see them. I'd rather see them more. I'd rather see them than Houston. That was a crazy take. But give me the Zags.
Jim?
I'm on the same boat. I think I get my worst nightmare, and I really, really hope we don't have to play the Zags. I think we obviously can beat them, but it's one of those teams where I really don't want to see them.
I think we're going to see them if we make it to the Elite Eight. I agree with both of y'all. I think Gonzaga is they're just in a good spot here, I think. So, yeah, Gonzaga to the Elite Eight. And the game that would be just off the chain crazy leading up to it, during it, after it, Tennessee versus Kentucky in the Sweet 16. Jim, how do you see that one going?
Look, it's hard to keep bias out of it because obviously it's your team. You want us to win, I'm just going off of how hard it is to beat a team 3 times. And if it gets to this point, Tennessee's going to want blood. And Tennessee's going to come to play, and I think Tennessee gets to the Elite Eight.
Oh, I think Tennessee is the hungriest team in the country, and I don't think that's bias at all. Kentucky fans, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see y'all. Oh, I cannot wait to see y'all. It's going to be nasty. Oh, I'm so pumped. Keep on talking y'all shit on Twitter. Please. Just wait. I was praying we saw y'all in the SEC tournament, but if we get to put y'all in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament, my gosh, it'll make my year. Give me the balls.
You're picking the balls.
Give me the balls.
I mean, it's just like Jim said, I mean, it is extremely tough to beat a team 3 times in the same year. Do I really think Zakai Ziegler, Jemai Meshack, all the other seniors are going to let that happen? Hell no. Vols move on to the Elite Eight to play the Zags. Back up to the south, Creighton versus Michigan State. Does Creighton continue their run? Jim.
Sorry, I froze. What'd you say?
Does Creighton continue their run? Jim.
I'm going Creighton, man. I just think both coaches here are very experienced, very well, good coaches here. Now, Michigan State's a good team, but I'm going with Ryan Kalkbrenner and Stephen Ashworth to somehow, some way pull it out. The only reason I say Kalkbrenner is this dude never fouls. He's always in the game. He's so disciplined. He could shoot the three. He rebounds well. And Stephen Ashworth knows how to find him. So I'm going Creighton to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, like I said, they're very deep. And then, like, if you get past this gauntlet they're going to run up to this point, they're going to beat Michigan State. I'm sorry. Creighton will be probably the hottest team in the country at this point. Scariest team in the country at this point if it's going to shape out like this. Michigan State is very good, but Creighton is experienced as well, and there's going to be a good matchup to watch. If we get it, that is.
I think Michigan State moves on.
Overruled.
Yeah, I mean, it don't matter. I am overruled, but I trust Tom Izzo more. But those are the rules. Creighton moves on to the Final Four. In the West, Maryland versus St. John's. How do you see that going, Eli? Your darling.
I like St. John's and their defense, but also Maryland's my darling. I didn't have them beating Florida. Honestly, if Maryland's going to beat Florida, then Maryland's going to beat St. John's.
Ooh, now you're back on them. Jim, do you agree?
No, I think St. John's. Man, it's kind of like Tennessee, where let's say we're correct and we get all these scenarios. You look at the opposite side of the bracket. Tennessee and Gonzaga is kind of like a St. John's versus Maryland. Mm-hmm. I kind of think defense wins here. I'm going St. John's.
Yeah, St. John's offense is not that good though. Where are they at? Offensive efficiency though. That's kind of what
69th, 65th.
Yeah. I mean, that's decent. That's good, I guess.
I just think if there was a team that can wear down Maryland's starting five, it's St. John's with the way they defend. And that's why
that is a good point. That's a good point.
I'm picking the Red Storm too. I just think they're just going to smother them. Duke versus Alabama, East, Elite Eight game. Eli.
Cooper Flag's going to show they can't play. Alabama can't play defense, and how are they going to guard Cooper Flag? I think that's logical. Give me Duke. I think they're on a. Yeah, give me Duke.
Jimbo.
I wanna pick Duke here. I think Alabama. If Alabama has a insane scoring night, I can see Alabama winning the game. But like Eli said, Grant Nelson is not going to guard Cooper Flag. I mean, if that's the matchup you got, oh man, just give Cooper Flag the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm going Duke here. I think Duke's too talented to not get to the Final Four.
100% agree. Gonzaga versus Tennessee. Does Tennessee break down the door to the Final Four? Jim.
I think this is the year. I really do. I think Gonzaga is going to give us trouble. I think they will. But if Tennessee does their thing and plays that defense, I think, like Eli said, I think Tennessee's hungry. I think this team, Jordan Gainey just got hot at the right time. If you could get 15 points from Jordan Gainey, 10 points from Jordan Gainey, get the Zakai you've been getting, Chaz Lanier has his day, I think Tennessee gets to the Final Four for the first time.
I agree. I honestly think we're playing our best basketball right now, and we keep getting better. Igor's been struggling a little bit, but everyone else has been pulling their weight. Man, we saw the SEC all year. I think that Tennessee. This is the year, boys. I really do believe that.
I agree. I think the defense wins out here. Gonzaga doesn't have a bad defense, but it's not as good as Tennessee's. And I think a typical Rick Barnes Tennessee game, the 71 to 65 or something like that. Not a terribly high scoring game, but that's what Tennessee wants. That's what will get them to their first Final Four. Creighton versus St. John's, Final Four. Jim.
Oh man, I've been riding the Blue Jays this whole time here. I really, really have. If we get to this spot, I think we're about to have the ugliest national title game in a long time. I'm going the Johnnies here. I think the defense gets it done.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to go St. John's as well. The luck runs out for Creighton. Yeah, ugly game. I think they're gonna. Man, I just don't like seeing St. John's in the championship. Just because that offense is, I don't think it's good enough to get them there. But if this is the matchup we're gonna get, I'm gonna go St. John's.
I agree. I think Creighton's run ends there. Defense, man. If that's the matchup, it's defense all day. Duke versus Tennessee. Eli, does Tennessee advance to the championship game?
Oh, my heart wants to say yes, but you know what? Yes, we're more experienced. Ziegler's going to give Con Knibble. If we get this, he's going to give him hell. Man, I would love to see it. Yeah, give me the Vols, man. Golly, give me the Vols. I don't know who's going to guard Flag, but I'm not even going to worry about that.
Jamal Meshack.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking you throw Meshack on him and you give Con Knibble absolute mortal hell from Ziegler. I think I like the Vols. I think I do.
Jim, I know that you love the Vols.
Rocky top, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Tennessee is going to get to the national title game playing the St. John Johnnies, all right? And it's going to be the most defensive game of the year. And it's going to be ugly, and it's going to be a low-scoring game of 109 points combined.
Oh, God.
But Tennessee wins the national title for the first time.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
109
I mean,
points.
honestly, if we make it there and we're playing St. John's, I've got to take us.
I'm just saying that's 55-54, ugly game.
Now, do I think we're in Duke is if we make it? Honestly, if we beat Duke and we don't win the national championship, I'm pretty sure we're all going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
No matter who we play, I mean, we could see Florida again. We could see Auburn again. I mean,
yeah, I honestly
so
think we might see Florida in the national title.
I think we made the perfect bracket. That's all I'm saying.
100% agree. And there you have it. St. John's loses Tennessee in the championship game. 2 hours later, we have our perfect bracket. Any closing thoughts?
Go freaking Vols and screw Kentucky. That's all I gotta say. I cannot
give me
wait.
Kentucky. Honestly, sorry, screw the bracket. I want Kentucky in the Sweet 16, and I want Purdue in the Elite 8. Let us go to the Final Four, and then give me Duke. Let us put that to shame and show why the Vols are the best team in the country.
Hell yeah. Go Vols, baby.
Go Vols.